Hi, welcome, and I hope you're doing well. In this video here, I'll be doing a step-by-step on how to replace a broken glass on an iPad mini 4th generation. The model for this is A1538. Let me show it to you at the very bottom here. I know the fine print is hard to read, but it says model A1538, and this one here is the iPad mini 4th generation. As you can see, the LCD works and the digitizer works as well. It's just that the bottom left corner here is cracked, the screen. Now let me go ahead and turn it off. So while the iPad is turning off, let me tell you what are the things that we need for this repair. So we obviously need to have the replacement screen, and this is iPad mini 4th generation screen. The Retina display LCD and the glass digitizer is one piece together. We are not replacing just the glass, we are replacing the LCD and the glass together. So as you can see, it is one big piece together. Now obviously the LCD screen is not the original OEM. We couldn't find the Apple screen. A replacement screen would be a third-party screen. Now the resolution is not as good quality as the original, just give you a heads up on that. We definitely need to have a heat gun. This one is to heat up the iPad screen, and that's how we can easily not melt the adhesive but to soften the adhesive so that the tape can be easily removed after. We do need to have the super glue gel. This super glue is to glue the bracket. Now as you can see that the home button is not here on the new screen, right? So we do not have a home button here. So what we need to do is we need to transfer the original home button over to this new screen so that the Touch ID would work. If you replace with the third-party home screen, the third-party button, the button would not work. Okay, so what we'll be doing is we're transferring the original home button screen over to this new glass, and that is the reason why we want to use the super glue, because the bracket here to hold on the home button, there will be a bracket to hold the home button, right? So when you press it, the bracket is holding the button from the front here. That's where you can press it. So anyway, I'll explain to you in more detail when you get to that part later on. A tweezer, a prying tool to pry open the glass, a screwdriver to open up the screws for the LCD. Oh, do we need the screw? I don't think we need the screwdriver. Anyway, I have it just in case. And this is the double-sided tape. The new screen does not come with it, so as you can see that the new screen doesn't have the pre-installed adhesive tape. I always like to use this type of the double-sided tape because it is a lot stickier and it can stick the glass very well. And finally, we do need to have safety first. Of course, safety is very important. This is the goggle for the eye protective gear. I want to protect myself at all times, and especially your eyes. So when you open up the broken glass, all these little small pieces of glass may fly to your face or to your eyes. So always have a protective gear on. So let's go ahead and start the process. Sorry about the long intro, introducing all the parts and all that thing. I just wanted to give you a complete layout, things that you may need for this repair. I do not want you to work halfway through the process and you forgot some of the things that you need. Alright, so as you can see, I'm heating up the glass, and I'm heating with the my hand is moving up and down. I do not stay in one position like this because the heat gun can be very hot. You do not want to damage the internal component like the motherboard, the logic board or the battery. Those are the things like the camera here. You do not want to stay in one position to heat things up. Always go back and forth to warm the tape. Now you don't have to heat up the whole thing all at one time, because by the time when you work on the screen here, at the bottom here might be it gets cool off. So you only want to work with sections. So work on this part, and then when it gets cold, come back again to warm it up, and then work your way around the corners. So if you do not have the heat gun and all you have is just the hair dryer, you can borrow it from your mom or from your sister, whoever at home have a hair dryer. Just use that. It just take a longer time to warm things up, but it will still work. Heat gun, it generates a lot more heat quicker. That's why I'm using it right now. But if you don't have this, there's an optional for that. If this is your first time doing this, I would say the process is not that easy. But if you want to try, if you feel yourself is very handy enough, you do most of the handy work at home, why not? Just plan yourself a good like 1 hour, 30 minutes, or maybe 2 hours of your time. Like I said, this is a no rush. It's not about competing. It's just about safety, getting things done right. So if you have a free time and you like to do the process, yeah, just follow along with my video. I'm not speeding things up, so you know that I'm doing at my regular pace. I'm doing it just as detailed as possible, so that you're not missing out any of those steps. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is trying to separate the glass, and it is glue and adhesive tape onto it. So take your time and try to separate them slowly. I'm using my finger to push the tape aside, so you can see that the tape is still on the glass. I'm just pushing them to separate. Now here is at the bottom. I want you to pay attention to this part. You see that the Wi-Fi here is exposed. This is actually the Wi-Fi antenna. The glass is somewhere is gone, is broken, and you see the Wi-Fi is exposed. But your iPad, if you do not see the Wi-Fi here, just letting you know there is a Wi-Fi antenna at the bottom here on both sides. Make sure you pay more attention to that part, because I do not want you to scrape or cut the Wi-Fi antenna. If you break the Wi-Fi antenna, then your iPad would have very weak signal to catch the Wi-Fi. So without the antenna, it's very hard to catch the Wi-Fi. And without the Wi-Fi, what is good with the iPad? You can't check your email, you can't watch YouTube, especially watch my YouTube channel, my videos on how to repair, right? So make sure that you do not break the Wi-Fi antenna. Take your time. And this is the tape I'm talking about, right? So the adhesive tape. Let me go ahead and remove this slowly, gently on the Wi-Fi. And at this point here, I just open up and tilt my screen at about 90-degree angle, because this is where all the cables are connected to. Okay, we do need to have the Phillips screwdriver, right, to open up the cable. I know I need to have the screwdriver, but I wasn't sure what is it for. My brain just farted. Alright, now let's go ahead and remove this, the two screws on that side. unscrew here at the base. Okay, so once the base is removed, let's go ahead and disconnect the battery. I just use my fingernail to tuck it in and lift it up. It's very simple. It's just like a Lego. You don't have to remove the battery. You just have to disconnect the connector so that there's no battery being pushed into the screen. If you have the plastic prying tool like this, you can use the plastic prying tool stuck underneath that little cable and just lift the screen up. There you have it. So I just removed the screen completely, and in this process you can see that it is all separated. Alright, at this point here, what I like to do next is to let you know that we will be transferring the home button right over to the new screen. So this is the new screen here. Okay, and what you want to do is you got to make sure that you have the safety pin open. So this is the home button, and this is safety notch. Flip it up, you click open at 90-degree angle, and I like to use the metal prying tool because they do tape it down on the cable. So make sure you take your time, go slow, do not break the cable, go slow. And what I'm trying to do is to get the cable slip down towards my body, right? Depending on how you look at it. If you look at it this way, the cable goes to your right, but if you look at it this way, the cable comes down to towards my body. Alright, at this point here, what I like to do is slowly separate that little tape. Okay, so there is a little tape right here. So you can see the double-sided tape is still on the cable. Now I like to work on the button. So this all thing come together in one big piece together. Now I feel like you see that little white gel? A lot of people say, oh, you don't need to have the super glue here, whatever reason, for the bracket. Nuh-uh, I don't think so, because you see that how original Apple, they do apply some kind of a gel or glue here to hold the bracket. So if you press, especially like the toddler kids, they push the button too hard, and if the bracket sink in the sink in the iPad, then the home button doesn't have the push back pressure point from the other side of it. So make sure you have this handy super glue to glue them together. Anyway, sorry about off topic again. What I'll do is I need to warm up the button. The bracket seems to be hardened already, so let me go ahead and warm it up. Shouldn't be warming from the other side. Okay, I like to put it down here. So what I'll do is I try to push it, separate the bracket. Okay, so that comes that little white gel, as you can see, it's right here. Okay, at the same time, I like to be very slowly underneath that cable. Do not break the cable. Got to tuck it underneath, okay? Now here comes the bracket. I got to go underneath that bracket right there. I just have a good contact with that. Now there you go. Okay, so it looks like the bracket breaks free. Now I lift it up because we tried to push that home button up here. We're going to get the entire home button out in one big piece together. Okay, so it looks good. There you go. So how you see it, the bracket, the cable, all together one big piece like this. Okay, so there you have it. Now I'm just going to leave the home button on the side. We're going to need that in a minute to transfer over to the new screen. So let's put this screen on the side. And let me bring you the new screen right here. So what I like to do is to double check, make sure that the bracket has no broken glass on here. So I like to make it flat and even when I install it afterwards. Now let's go ahead and transfer the home button. Now I like to, what I do is I like to insert this. Make sure the clipper is open first. So the safety clipper right here, make sure it's flip open. And then what you want to do is you want to slide this cable in. Make sure you got it all the way in. Okay, until you can't see that little gold pieces. Make sure all the way in the right angle. And while I'm holding at it, I'm holding at the cable right here. Let me go ahead and press the safety pin to lock it. Okay, so now the safety pin is locked, and I can kind of tape it down a little bit. Okay, so let me push the home button back into the right bracket. It should sit perfectly on its own, right? Because it's all the same size. Now what I like to do is I like to go ahead and apply that gel already. All you need to have is a very small tiny little drop. You need to have right about a size of a booger. Sorry, I know everyone have a different booger size, but right about this much I think should be enough for each side of the bracket. Can you see? Okay, right about this much. Alright, so let me go ahead and transfer that over here. It's hard to do it. Okay. Alright. I think I have in a good amount. See, as I press it down, that little gel just squeeze out a little bit. That's why you do not want to put a lot. Just good amount for that. Okay, now before the glue dries out, what I like to do is, while I'm holding at it, I like to press the home button. Looks like the clicker clicks. You can hear the clicker. It's clicking right on that sweet spot. So leave it as is while the bracket is getting glue dry. Right? So the bracket is drying right now with the gel. That looks perfect. See how the little things get squeezed out? That's normal. Because when Apple do that, they have the same thing. That's how we can see that little white glue when we remove it earlier. Sorry, I think I have a little bit glue here. You can always come back and scrape it off. Alright, looks like it's good. While waiting for the screen to get dry, I like to come back here and remove that double-sided tape. Shake off some of the broken glass. And at this point here, what you want to do is you want to come back and clean some of those dirt, some of those broken pieces of glass are still stuck in there. Let's come back and clean those things off. And just like the patient go through the surgery, while you already cut the patient up open, you might as well just suck the fat out. If the patient is, I don't know, has a lot of fat or whatever, since it's already exposed. Sorry, I'm just kidding. I do not know anything about medical stuff. So just stupid joke for today. Just ignore that. Alright, so everything looks good. What I like to do next is to apply this double-sided tape here. I think this is the time that I like to introduce all the parts, like all the screen, the tools that I use, the tape. I have the link in the description below. I'll link them everything down at the description. Go ahead and click on that description link. It will direct you to either Amazon or eBay, where you can buy the parts and do your own repair. Okay. Alright, so here I like to install maybe double that tape, since the tape is so thin. I like to maybe add a little bit more here underneath, just to give a good amount of a tape to hold on to the new screen. Okay, let me go ahead and do it on the other side here. You try to push the tape as close as possible to the very end of the base. You try to have the good amount of contact with the new screen, so that they can stick well together. Okay, I like to put another one here by the Wi-Fi, so that it holds properly. Alright, I think I have enough of tape being applied onto this thing now. Okay, so the next step I like to do is to remove the tape here, getting ready to install the new screen. By now the home button should be all dried up and ready to go. Okay, so they are kind of like Lego. When you find them in the right spot, the sweet spot, they will just snap back in very easily. Do not force the cable to go in. That is not how you want to do it. You just want it to be in the right position, and then when you press it down, you can feel like it's like Lego. They snap back in very easily. Now go ahead and connect the battery. The bracket, we have the bracket on earlier, so we're going to put it back. If you're still following along with the repair so far, you're doing great. We are almost done. So what I like to do is I like to kind of turn it on before I glue them all back together. It looks like the Apple screen comes on just fine. Now as I'm waiting for the Apple to start up, what I'll do is I'll align the very top here, the top left or the top right, just align them in the right position. They snap in properly. Now what I like to do here is to show you this little trick. You see that this flex cable is sticking out for the line. Make sure that it's not clipped in. So what you want to do is you want to adjust as you go. Make sure it's as tight as possible that it rests in. Yep, there you go. It goes in just perfectly fine. Okay, and you just want to work your way around it. Do not press it too tight because the screen might be sorry, I have to hide the picture. There is a picture of the customer. So there you have it. Everything looks good. So if you like the video, please subscribe, click the like button. I hope that your repair is a success. Until next time, take care now. Bye bye.